You ever notice how every time Peacemaker says he's done with killing, the universe throws him a gun and whispers, "One last time."
Yeah,
Episode 7 doesn't just break that cycle. It shatters it. Because what if I told you that in this episode, Peacemaker becomes the villain he's been hunting all along? Not metaphorically. Not emotionally. Literally. The first scene doesn't open with explosions or bullets. It opens with silence. And you can feel it. That quiet before the truth hits like a bullet to the chest. Peacemaker's mask is off. His hands are shaking, and the one person he swore to protect is lying on the floor because of him. But here's the question nobody's asking. Was it really his choice? Or has Amanda Waller been pulling the strings from the shadows again, turning her arrow into another controlled weapon? Because the clues, the way the camera lingers on the RGS file, the glitch in the earpiece, the missing audio feed, all point to one thing: someone's rewriting Peacemaker's mission in real time. And the craziest part, he doesn't even know it. You can see it in his face, that split second where he realizes the blood on his hands isn't from his enemies, it's from his team. That's not redemption. That's reprogramming. And if you think I'm reaching, hold on. Because episode 7 hides a secret in plain sight that flips the entire season upside down. Remember that moment in episode 3 where Peacemaker looked into the mirror and said, "I'm no monster"? Well, the mirror finally talks back. And the reflection isn't just distorted. It's watching him. This episode doesn't ask if Peacemaker can change. It asks whether change even matters when someone else owns your mind. And that brings us to the real horror of season 2. Not the gore, not the violence, but control. Every smile, every order, every so-called mission feels scripted, rehearsed, like Waller's invisible hand is still in the frame. So when the episode's final 5 minutes hit, when that mysterious voice calls him, Assets 07, you realize this isn't a redemption arc anymore. It's a cover story. Now here's the twist. The deeper you look, the more it seems Peacemaker isn't being manipulated by Waller, but by something smarter. Something that's not even human. And if that theory's right, then season 2 isn't about saving the world. It's about surviving a lie. Here's the thing about Peacemaker. He's not a bad guy. He's just a man trying to make sense of a world that keeps rewriting what good, even, means. But episode 7 doesn't just question his morality, it rips it apart. Because this episode forces him to confront a nightmare he's been running from since season 1C. What if peace requires war? And this is where it gets dark. Not just morally, but psychologically. Rick Flag Sir reappears like a ghost from the sins of the past, reminding Chris that he can never outrun the consequences of his father's legacy. Every word, every smirk, every glare. It's like Augie's shadow still walks beside him, whispering, "You'll never be free." But that's the pain point nobody wants to talk about. This isn't just about superheroes or villains anymore. It's about generational control. Fathers, governments, even entire systems forcing men like Peacemaker to become what they hate. And the show isn't subtle about it either. When Hardcourt says, "You can't save everyone, Chris," she's not talking about casualties. She's talking about himself. The man who kills for peace, only to realize peace was never his to give. And honestly, that's what makes this episode so uncomfortable to watch. Because deep down, we see ourselves in him. The mistakes, the guilt, the desperate need to prove we're not who they say we are. But Peacemaker's tragedy is that every time he tries to change, the world reminds him, you don't get to choose your story. That's why this episode hurts. It's not just action and jokes. It's psychological warfare. You start asking yourself, how much of who I am was decided by me? And that's the kind of question that keeps you up at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling. And by the way, if you're someone who actually loves when a superhero show goes this deep, you need to subscribe right now, because on this channel, we don't just watch shows. We decode them. We dig into the forbidden details the internet misses, and every week, we expose the secrets the writers hide in plain sight. Now, let's get to the part everyone's talking about. That one scene that broke the fandom in half. The argument between Peacemaker and Hardcourt. It's not just an emotional meltdown. It's a confession. You can hear the exhaustion in his voice when he says, "I didn't mean to kill him." It's not just guilt. It's fear. Fear that no matter how many times he tries to do the right thing, he's destined to destroy everyone he loves. And that's the real conflict of episode 7A. The enemy isn't Rick Flag Sitter. It's not the government. It's not even Waller. It's the idea that Peacemaker can't be redeemed because the world doesn't want him to be. He's the weapon that works. And in a world built on chaos, the weapon never retires. Here's the part nobody's talking about, but everyone felt. The way Episode 7 sets up its final act isn't just clever, it's a coded message. Because when Rick Flag Sechern talks about the portal, he isn't just describing a sci-fi doorway. He's talking about a loop. A loop that traps every version of Peacemaker in the same fate. No matter the universe, no matter the timeline, think about it. Every Chris Smith we've seen, Earth X Prime Earth, even flashback versions, all end up at the same crossroads. Doing the right thing by committing the wrong act. It's poetic, it's tragic, and it's intentional. Because this isn't just a multiverse gimmick. This is James Gunn's coded thesis that morality in the DCU isn't about good viz, evil anymore. It's about survival viz guilt. That's why Rick Flag-Serv's obsession feels so personal. He's not hunting Peacemaker. He's trying to fix him. He's the ghost of every soldier who followed orders and lost their soul in the process. But here's where it gets wild. That portal. It's not Argus tech. It's alien. Flag even says it himself. Their tech had a wobble. This doesn't. Translation. Someone, or something, is watching. And I know what you're thinking. Could this tie into the Man of Tomorrow storyline? Yes. And here's the secret the internet's missing. The secure signal isn't coming from Earth at all. It's coming from the Omega system. If you know your DC lore, that means Luthor isn't the real puppet master here. He's just the messenger for something much bigger, something ancient. And maybe, just maybe, this entire Earth X operation is part of a new god's experiment. That's why the portal tech feels alien. That's why the frequency is stable. And that's why the finale might not just end with a fight. It could end with Peacemaker coming face to face with the god who designed his fate. It's poetic irony, right? The man who fights for peace might discover that peace itself was manufactured. And that's when it hits you. Peacemaker isn't trying to save the world. He's trying to break free from it. So the question isn't, can he stop Rick Flags here? Anymore. It's, can he escape the story written for him? That's the real twist of Episode 7. And if you missed that, you missed the emotional core of the entire show. Because beneath every explosion, every punchline, every helmet joke, is a story about a man at war with destiny